In this video, we are going to refactor the movie watchlist application that we have created in our previous video. And to do that, what we are going to do, we are going to create our own create element function that is responsible for creating dynamic HTML. In the explainer video, I created a function called ELM that can create dynamic HTML for us. The reason we did that is because doing it this way makes it a lot more readable to create dynamic HTML. So after creating the function create element, we'll refactor this movie watchlist application to use create element rather than using document.createElement. So let's have a look of what the application looks like right now. In our HTML, we have the basic structure. Here we have UL, that is where all the dynamic content is going. And with the word dynamic, I mean the number of movies visible here, because it depends on the user how many movies they have. Right now we have 2 movies. In future it can have 10 movies or something like that, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at JavaScript now. So in our JavaScript, we have a variable called all movies that is responsible for storing all the information about different movies. Here we are adding an event listener. Down here we have a function called handle change, and here we have a function named create movie UI. This function is responsible for creating the dynamic structure. And here what I've done is I've just created a function named create element that accepts 3 parameters: the type of the element, all the attributes that the element has, and do they have any children or not. And based on that, we are creating all the elements, and at last we are returning that specific element. So to refactor it, we will have to refactor this piece of code. So let's just have a look at what the structure looks like right now. So here you can see that inside UL, we have 2 li. In future, it can be 10 li based on the number of movies we have. So now let's go ahead and start refactoring it. So here we can see that we have to create a li element, right? It doesn't have any attribute, but it does have some children, right? So let's go ahead and do that. One thing to differentiate here is we have a function named create element, but here to create element, we are using document.createElement. So this function is coming from the document object that is present in the browser. But now we will use the function that we created by ourselves named only create element. So first thing we'll do is to remove this document from here. And we need to create an element with the type of li. Does it have any attribute? As you can see it here, it doesn't have any. So you can pass an empty object or you can pass null, whatever you want to. Any other attribute it has 2 childrens. So again here what we will do, we'll create the element that is label and button right here. And how do we create element now? We just use the function create element, and create element accepts 2 parameters. So the first parameter is going to be the type. Here it is going to be label. The second is going to be attributes. Do you see any attribute? No, we don't have any. Then we'll pass null. Does it have any children? No, it doesn't have any children. So we don't have to pass these 2 parameters, and we'll just move on to the next one. Next argument that we are passing here is the button element. So again, similar to how we created label, we'll create button, and here the type will be button. Does it have any attribute? Yes, it does. That is ID of 0. So we'll pass an object with a key of ID, and where is the value coming from? So if you take a look at it here, you can see is the ID is coming from I. What is I? I is the index whenever you are looping over data. So here ID will come from I. One more thing that we can see here is each label has an attribute called for and inner text. Even button has inner text. And here next is inner text. And as you have seen in the explainer video, we always consider anything that is between the element to be a children. Even though in JavaScript we are doing it like button.innerText as a property, and that is going between button element, that is to watch here, right? But as we have already seen that we consider anything coming between the elements to be the children. And that is what we are taking care of here. We are saying if the children is an object, then you have to append. But if the children is a string, like in our case, it is Forrest Gump or to watch. In that case, we are creating a text node and appending inside the element. So what we are going to do now here is we'll pass the third parameter to create element, that is the children. And what is the children here? So the children is coming from movie.name. So I'll just copy this from here and we'll paste it here. Similarly, inside button, it depends on whether the movie is watched or not. So I'll just copy this thing from here and we'll pass this as a third parameter to create element when we are creating button. So we'll pass it like this. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to comment this out so we can just compare it. Now when you save it, you can see that we are creating an element of li. It doesn't have any attribute, that we can see it here. Then we are creating two other elements and both are the children of li element. First one is label. It has a property called for and the value is I. And the third property is children. That is going to act like inner text. Similarly, here we are creating button. We are passing an attribute of ID and the value is I. And the third is going to be either watched or to watch. Now that we have created our li element, we should be good to go. The only thing we need to remove is we don't have to append label and button inside li manually. Why? Because we are doing it using the function create element. So we'll save this and we'll refresh it here. And we can see nothing changed, right? And what happens when you add a new movie? So we'll say Batman Begins. We'll press enter and we can see that the movie gets added. Means the function create movie UI is working properly. The only thing we need to worry about is what is happening with when you click on to watch or watched. You can see it's not working at all. So first we need to understand, are we adding the event listener or not? So here you can see when we were writing it using create element, we added an event listener on the button element by using add event listener of type click, and whenever that happens, you have to call handle change. But we haven't added any kind of event listener when we are doing it using create element. So how can we fix that? So to fix it, there are multiple ways to do that. But the simplest would be, we can just create this element outside, like here, we'll say button can be created using something like this. And then we just have to pass btn here, right? So here we have created button element outside. The reason we did that here is because we have to add an event listener on it. Our create element function doesn't have support for event listener, and that is the reason we are doing it. In future, it will not be the case. So here, what we can do now is just because we have button element here, we can do the same thing that we were doing earlier by adding an event listener. So I'll copy this code from here and paste it and replace button with btn. So what I did is just because there was an element that needed to have an event listener and our create element function doesn't have support for event listener. So we created it outside and we added the event listener and we passed it here. So now we have created our button element here and we have added an event listener of type click, and whenever that happens, call the function handle change. Now let's see if it is working or not. So we'll refresh it, click on to watch, and you can see it is working properly. But this is not the only way to fix this problem. You can fix it by updating our create element function. And let's see how we can do that. So generally, whenever you want to add an event listener directly on HTML element, how do you do that? You can directly pass it like on click, on change, on double click, and a lot of other things. So you can see that when you pass event listener directly on HTML element, we always say something like on click, on change, on double click. So the word on is always there, right? So in that way, we will get to understand that it is an event listener. So that is the same thing we can do here. So here to our button element, what we can do, rather than adding an event listener here, we can just pass it as an attribute. So we can say on click. And whenever on click happens, you just have to call this function handle change. So this is how I can pass an event listener inside our create element function. Now what we will have to do? We will have to take an extra precaution, and that is we can just write an extra else if. So we'll say else if Whenever anything starts with on, it means that it is an event listener, right? So here we are saying key starts with data, then you have to use set attribute. Similarly, here we'll say whenever key starts with on, it means that it is an event listener. So what we need to do? We need to add an event listener on the element. So we'll say element dot add event listener. Here to add event listener, we need to pass things like click. We cannot pass things like on click. That we are passing it from here. So what we can do is we can just take out the on from that and put only click here. So here we can just create a variable called event type, and the event type is going to be the key, right? Because the key is on click, and what we need to do, we just need to remove this on from here. So here the simplest way would be we can just say key dot replace, because it is a string, I want to replace on with empty string. And in that way what will happen is on click will become click. And here instead of passing click, we'll just say event type. And whenever you want to add an event listener, you also have to pass a callback function. And the callback function will come as a reference. So what we can do here, to get access to the event listener, we can just say attribute of specific key that we are looking for. So here we have access to key. Using that key, we are getting access to event type by removing on from that. And here we are just saying this is the callback function that you have to call whenever you're doing that. So this is another way to solve this problem. By doing this, what we are doing is we are making our create element function even more powerful. So in future, whenever we will have to add any kind of event listener, we will not have to do something like this outside. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove this part from here. I'll copy this thing from here, comment it, and we'll directly replace that with our element. So we don't have to put things outside and put it as a reference. So now when you refresh it, nothing changed. Click on to watch what is happening. So now we made our create element function even more powerful by passing an attribute in this way. One more thing what we can do here is on click is not following a camel case. So just to make it look better, we can do something like on click, and we are passing it like an attribute here. And here what we can do is once we get access to event type by replacing on from that, you'll get click where C is capital. So we can just say to lowercase. So we converted click with C uppercase to lowercase. So in that way also it will work properly. Click on it, it is working properly. And it's not like we can only add on click event. We can add any kind of event. So now our function is a lot more powerful that can support all the attributes, children. Along with that, it can also support all the event types. So now our refactoring is done. We'll delete this part, and what we are going to do now is to check our application if it is working properly or not. So we have two movies, Forrest Gump and Inception. So we'll add a new movie, Before Sunrise, and we'll press enter. What happened? The movie got added at the bottom. When you click on it, it is changing from to watch to watched. And when you click here, it will change from to watch to watched. So in this way, we have refactored our application to use the function that we created named create element. And we also made our function create element a bit more powerful by adding the support for event listeners. And how we are doing that is we are passing the event as an attribute. So on click is the type of event. Whenever that happens, you need to call this function. And inside our create element function, we are getting access to event type by replacing the on word to empty string and converting the other thing into lowercase. And here we are saying element.add event listener of event type, and the value or the callback function that you need to call whenever this kind of event happens on element is coming from attributes, and the key is on click, and we're getting access to that. So attribute is the object. So if we want to get access to handle change, we have to look for this key, and from this object we can get access to that. So in this way we completed this exercise. You can have a look at create element function and try to understand what is happening here.